Okay, I'm gonna try this filming outside thing again. Hopefully a storm won't blow in, although we really kind of need it. But anyway, today we're gonna be talking about Belle de Jour from 1967. Belle de Jour was recommended to me by Celeste from the Sweet and Spooky channel on YouTube. Please go check her out. She covers horror films, but you know, she watches a little bit of everything, which is how Belle de Jour ended up on my recommendations list. I'm not gonna have spoilers, but I am going to allude to the fact that the ending of the movie may be happy or unhappy. So if you don't want to know if it's a happy or unhappy ending, even though I'm not going to tell you what exactly is happening in that ending, be on your way. This is a French drama, I guess. How do I keep ending up watching French dramas? This film was directed by Louise Buñuel. And here's your synopsis. Housewife Séverine is remarkably beautiful, but she is also frigid and strange. One day, as if led by some sort of unidentifiable need, she takes up work as a prostitute while her husband is at work. Where do I start with this? Well, part of the reason why Celeste recommended this to me is because Jean Sorel is in the movie. He plays the husband of Séverine, the one who doesn't know his wife's a prostitute. So it's really nice to see him. But another person I was super thrilled to see was Pierre Clementi. And I'm probably saying that last name wrong, sorry. I know Pierre from The Designated Victim, and I love him, and I've been wanting to see more from him. He is just so intriguing. He has such this like tragedy about him, and also this sort of sexual ambiguity. I don't know. He's got a very cool look, and I love his character in this movie. So I'll go ahead and tell you what his character is like. He's like a thug type. He's like a criminal type. He's a ruffian, okay? He also has like I can't tell if I guess they were silver teeth, but he has all metal teeth because they all got kicked out. And then Jean Sorel plays a doctor. He's just, you know, a good boy. He's a nice boy. He's a proper husband. He's a sweetie pie. Well, let's get on to the lead of this film. Uh-oh, I don't know how to say it. Catherine Deneuve.
Catherine Deneuve.
She plays Séverine. And I guess this is the first time I've seen her. She has a very beautiful look. Perfect hair. She looks like a little doll. Oh, we also have Matcha Merrill, who was in Deep Red. The psychic from Deep Red is in this movie. And Genevieve Paget playing the Madame. Whew, where do I even start? First of all, this film seems to be extremely popular. It has I think it has a 4.0 on Letterboxd. But it was very weird. This is a weird movie. I guess all the French things I've seen so far are weird. So, why does Séverine want to be a prostitute? Seemingly, she and her husband are not intimate, or if they are, it's very rare. She seems very, stilted. I don't know, she's just, frigid is the best word I can think of. But we start to see her having these fantasies that are kind of, violent or humiliating. So it would appear that she has some sort of a humiliation kink. I hope my neighbors can't hear me. And that's just simply not something that she's going to get from her very vanilla marriage. Although she could just ask. So I can absolutely see why Celeste recommended this, because it shares themes in common with films like The Slave from 1969, The Strange Vice of Mrs. Ward, or even The Laughing Woman. The film doesn't really address why Séverine and her husband, Pierre, Jean Sorel plays Pierre, not Pierre playing Pierre. So they don't really explain why they don't have a very intimate marriage, but they do flash back to some scenes of Séverine in childhood, which would seem to imply there's some sort of trauma there, but they didn't really dive into that. When Severin is considering maybe going to work at a brothel, she actually just like casually asks her husband, like, hey, so have you ever been to a whorehouse? And he's like, yeah, sure. And then she's like, so how does it work? And he's like, well, let me explain it to you. So yeah, she approaches this brothel, I suppose. It's hardly a brothel. I don't know. It's just this woman's like apartment, and she just has 2 girls operating out of it. And then Severin comes to visit and inquire about working for her, and she gets the gig. So now there's 3 girls operating in this small place, and then 1 madame. So we get to see a little bit of like the clientele and just the kinds of things they get up to. Now this is the 60s, so you're not like seeing stuff, but it is pretty naughty because, you know, you see there's a guy who likes being walked on and likes being spat on. And Severin, like at first you can tell she's very conflicted, like she kind of wants to do it, but also she is terrified. And her first couple of interactions are quite painful. It's so awkward, like so clumsy, just cringe. Okay, she's not good at this. But it reminded me a lot of when I started my job and I was doing a terrible job at it, and it was just like, what can you do? You just suck. Anyway, so the film is basically following, for a long time, like you forget Jean Sorel is even in the movie, because you're following Severin and her activities, and her whole thing. Like her prosty name is Belle de Jour, which means like beauty of the day, because she only likes to work during the daytime so she can get back when her husband gets off work. So yeah, you see Belle de Jour going about her business. One gig she had in particular was really interesting. This guy invited her out to his castle for a religious ceremony, and I was like, please tell me he's a Satanist, because that would be so cool. But no, what he wanted to do, it was like a role-playing situation or something. He wanted Severin to be in a coffin and pretend to be dead and to be his dead daughter. And I don't know what else happened with that. So this actress who played Severin, obviously she's very beautiful, but I was really annoyed with her character most of the movie because she's just like she just clams up. Like she's not talking, she's not expressing anything. She's just like all the time. And I kept thinking like eventually she's gonna come out of her shell. And while some people might say that she did, like I thought she pretty much didn't. Okay, I found her to be very just like wooden and flat, and I assume that was the intention. And reading a little bit about this actress, that seems to be like the style she's known for, is to be aloof. But I don't know, there was nothing coming off of her, so you weren't like rooting for her or empathizing with her or understanding her or anything. You're just watching her and not getting it, not getting why she's doing what she's doing, or like how she feels. Like, hello? The film is punctuated with many fantasy sequences, just like in The Slave, but the thing about this movie is there's no differentiation between like the appearance of the fantasy and the appearance of reality, unless I totally missed a detail. But like, you know, the fantasy isn't like dreamy or shimmery looking, it just looks like normal reality. So you're constantly having to go like, that's weird, oh, okay, this must be another dream. So finally, Pierre Clementi comes into the picture as a client at the brothel. And I'm leaving out a lot of characters, so there's definitely things to be discovered if you're interested in watching this film. But Pierre, he's scary. Oh, I'm sorry, he plays Marcel, okay? His character is Marcel, but Jean Sorel's character is named Pierre. So, Marcel is real creepy, but also, like, kind of charming. Like, you kind of want them to be sweet, you know? Like, it would be cute. And he could be, like, maybe she can fix him. But that is not the case. Eventually, Severin feels threatened by Marcel. And that's where I'm going to stop telling you the story. But let me just say that freaking every French movie I've watched so far just takes this nosedive into devastating tragedy in like the last few minutes. This film gave me a nightmare last night. Like unexpected. Do you remember my review of Marie the Doll? Well, I didn't tell you what happened, but like another what? Unexpected crash and burn ending. It is grim. It is grim. But anyway, this was a very intriguing film. It definitely kept your attention the whole time. Like it didn't seem to lull or get boring or anything like that. There are plenty of 60s babes, 60s makeup, 60s fashion. It's all very nice to look at. It's like a well-made film. I think this is like a higher class film. I don't know. Performances were all professional. There's a lot to dig into in this film, and something I found particularly thought-provoking was the fact that Severin, it almost seemed like she signed up for this job like against her own will. It's like there was this innate need that defied her judgment and her logic. So it wasn't even like something she wanted or didn't want to do. It was something she had to do. And that was kind of cool to see. But one thing I didn't think about till the end is I don't think there's any music in this movie. I think I said the same thing at the end of Marie the Doll. Do the French not like music? Anyway, yes, that movie's definitely right up my alley. Like way before I got into watching movies, I liked reading stories about call girls and books about call girls and things like that. So right up my alley in many ways. I think fans of Eurocult, if y'all haven't already seen this movie, because again, it seems to be very popular, I think fans of Eurocult in general, and just like, if you like stuff like The Slave or The Laughing Woman, I think this will be a great fit as well. So that was a very appropriate recommendation, Celise. Thank you so much. Again, surely you guys have heard of Sweet and Spooky by now, but do check out her channel. I'll link it down below. Let me know if you've seen Belle de Jour and what your thoughts are. Let me know what you think about Pierre Clementi. Alright, and we managed to film without a storm this time, so what do the French say? Au revoir! Au revoir!